ipakita natin sa buong mundo na ang Pilipino may kakayanan na magpahusay ng kabuhayan Pilipino.
That we call on all patriotic Filipinos to discard ideological differences, party affiliations, disparity of religious beliefs and regional origin, to close our ranks, stand behind one flag, commit our honor, dedicate our lives to fight as best we can in defense of our country.
Ang ating katipunan. Ang ating katipunan. Ang palatuntunang maghahatid sa inyo ng mahahalagang impormasyon tungkol sa mga kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Ang ating katipunan.
Magbibigay liwanag sa mga katanungang nagdudulot ng pagkalito sa mga mamamayan hango sa aral ng pandaigdigang kasaysayan.
Ang ating katipunan.
Makikinig sa inyong mga daing at kuro-kuro sa pagsusuri ng mga kasalukuyang suliranin ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo.
Ang ating katipunan.
Maglalatag ng kalutasan ng mga sanhi ng paghihirap ng kalagayan at kabuhayan ng sambayanan.
Ang ating katipunan.
Ihahatid sa inyo ni Itos Valdes ng Philippine LaRouche Society, Save the Nation Movement, Solidarity for Sovereignty Movement, Renaissance Philippines, at Partido Politikal ng Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino, kasama si Cathy Cruz.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Ito po si Butch Valdes, kasama po si Itos Valdes. At dito po sa ating katipunan na sumasa inyo every Sunday po at about time 7 o'clock up to 9 o'clock. Dito sa mga nakaraan na linggo, ninarapat namin na buksan itong mga topics na sa palagay natin ay napaka-importante, hindi lang po dahil nangyayari ito sa ibang dako ng mundo, kundi pinapakita po natin kung ano po ang hinaharap ng sangkatauhan at kasama na rin po tayo diyan. Madalas natin din sinasabi na kung ano man ang mangyayari sa Amerika ay may epekto, malaking epekto po dito po sa ating Pilipinas at hindi lang sa Pilipinas, sa buong mundo. No? And it's important that we understand what's going on because the Philippines is not the world. Neither is the world the Philippines. No? But every time it's here in the Philippines, we tend to be thinking insular. No? Para bagang lahat na dito ay ito na yung pinakamundo natin. Tapos sasabihin natin, ay pagdating doon wala na tayong pakialam doon, wala tayong connection dyan. Hindi po no? Hindi po ganyan. Alam niyo na may connection po tayo dyan. No? Naraman niyo na po, lalong-lalo na dito sa mga parating na mga krisis, mga tensyon, mga kaganapan na posibleng nagkakagera, no? mga nagtututukan ng mga sandatahan ng mga iba-ibang mga bansa na may kinalaman po sa atin. Because nothing that we plan here in the Philippines is going to mean anything or prosper if there is a world war, if there is no peace. So our interest is there should be world peace. Ngayon po, nakaraan po itong September 11, 9/11. Alam po natin lahat na itong 9/11 is a very significant day. Not only because for some people it's as they see it as the birthday of President Marcos, who would be about 103 years old, I think, by now.
1919.
1917 na siya. Okay. So at any rate, but 9/11 will be significant because of other things. Most especially ito po na natatandaan po ng buong mundo. Nakita po natin sa television, almost live, na pinapakita ng CNN, no? Na ito pong mga aeroplano tumatama po sa mga building, Twin Towers na tawag nila. Isa dito at sinasabi nila meron pa daw aeroplanong nag-crash dito sa Pentagon. Alam niyo po yung Pentagon, it's like their Secretary of National Defense. Ito mga parang headquarters ng militar nila. At meron pang ibang
Flight 93.
nag-crash sa Pennsylvania. Okay. All of these were happening. And it was shown to us world television live. Napakatindi po dahil all of us were shocked. Natakot, no? Ano bang nangyayari ngayon? Nag-uumpisa ba yung kita? Cathy ang Amerika. Sabihin that's what you were afraid of. And of course, yung reaksyon ng bansang Amerika, yung kanilang presidente, tanda siyang kalumpati na lahat ng gumawa nito, hindi niya papayagan at makawala at kung saan man sulok sila ng mundo, ay puntahan siya. And this is the key. And the key in the sense na it gave the license, the global approval, not just the congressional approval in the United States. It was a global approval that the United States was going to go to another country and seek out Osama bin Laden, who was supposed to be the culprit, mastermind in planning out this attack from Afghanistan. I don't know if some of you have been to Afghanistan, that Afghanistan is magugulat ka that these people have such geniuses that can do something like that. At any rate, sabi Afghanistan, di nagtagal, hindi lang Afghanistan, kundi ang Iraq. Tapos nandun, nagkaroon po ng mga gera dyan, no? At nagpadala ng maraming sundalo at mga war equipment ng bansang Amerika dito. At sinamahan siya ng mga iba-ibang bansa. No? Nagpadala din ng mga sundalo, ganyan-ganyan.
Pero nanganak yung tinatawag nilang war on terror.
Yes.
Global war on terror. Since hindi naman tayo World War II tulad ng Pearl Harbor, ngayon sabihin lang global war on terror.
Kasi yung terror na sinasabi nilang inatake yung dalawang building. Terrorism. No? At inuturo nila kay Osama bin Laden. Hindi natin masyadong bibigyan ng marami pang panahon itong paksang ito at this point. Ang sinasabi lang natin, ito ang nagbigay ng reason for them to enter ang Middle East in such great military fashion. Supposed to be looking for the culprit. And the culprit was Osama bin Laden. And then after that, it was Saddam Hussein.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Because daw he had a weapon of mass destruction, gagawa daw siya ng nuclear bomb at aatakihin daw yung Amerika. Kanya, nagpadami silang mga sundalo dyan at inatake na nga nila yung mga bansang ito. At hinanap din si Saddam Hussein para patayin. Ang nangyari, wala po talagang weapons of mass destruction at pati yung pagpatay kay Saddam Hussein ay medyo malaking question mark. Maraming nagsasabi, yung mga alam nyo po, nagkaroon ng mga 18 tao na SEALs. Ito yung mga special forces ng bansang Amerika. There were 18 of them that went inside that compound of Osama bin Laden and killed him. Nobody found out where the body of Osama bin Laden was placed because they said they threw him out to the sea. But alam niyo po, yung 18 taong na supposedly nag-raid doon at pinatay siya, lahat po yung 18 tao patay na rin. All of those 18 people that supposed to be participated in the killing of Osama bin Laden, supposed to be, are all dead. Any rate, it was at this time na lumalabas itong mga pahayagan at mga anunsyo ng bansang Amerika na we are going to implement or they are going to implement the new world order
After 9/11.
after 9/11. The new world order.
After 9/11, 2000.
2000. So, yun po ang kanilang ano ba itong New World Order? Ito na po sila, ginagawa na nila yung kanyang mga ginagawa. Ang mga malalaking question mark hanggang ngayon, may suspecha na yung ginawa ang pagpapasabog ng dalawang tore ng World Trade Center
Sa New York.
ay kagagawan nila. Sinong sila? Yung pong mga nagplano nito, no? Ang sabi nila, mga conspiracy ito, ginawa nila ito, pinasabog nila yung building para magkaroon ng excuse ang pamahalaan ng Amerika tumugod sa Middle East. Paano nilang sinabing sinadya yan? Kasi pinakita nila yung eroplano. Pero ang sabi ng halos lahat ng mga galing na inhinyero, hindi dito po sa Amerika, sa Germany, sa Russia, sa Italy, Japan, lahat ng magagaling na structural engineers. They said the building does not collapse in that way. Halos diretso pong bumagsak na ganyan and flattened out in 10.1 seconds. Bakit importante po daw yung 10.1 seconds? If you were at the height of that building, the top, and you drop something like a coin or anything or a stone, it will take 10.1 seconds to reach the ground. So in other words, the whole building fell parang free fall. Ang normally, dahil may, sabihin na natin, may nasusunog, Kung man babagsak yan, konti-konti, floor by floor, o ganyan. But they said it went into a free fall. Yung dalawang tore, malaking question mark po yan. That's why there is a suspicion that it was self-inflicted by people, obviously who were heartless, because there were 3,000 people who died there, and many more people who died in the attack in the Middle East and into Iraq. More than 1 million people died in this whole effort. People who died for no reason and no fault of theirs. Only because somebody said Osama bin Laden blew up the building. Now it's coming out, it was not Osama bin Laden, but people supposed to be close to the administration of the United States at that time. Up to now, there is that big question mark, that very strong suspicion as to who were doing this. We now know that they must be what they call the cabal, no? Or the people that are quiet, that are under there. They're not they're operators inside the government that have been able to do this. Mismong si Lyndon LaRouche, dito po sa aming we're part of this international organization called the LaRouche Movement. Nung buhay pa po siya at nangyari yan, ang unang-una niyang sinabi, tignan niya ang dapat daw tanungan sa Department of Defense ng Amerika at itanong din sa Saudi Arabia, nakakonsyaba nila kung sino ang nagpagawa nito. Meaning, meron siyang alam at that time or nasuspect siya niya that it was an inside job. Now, at that time when it was happening, all of these suspicions were not entertained, di ba? Hindi siya pinapansin kasi masyadong conspiracy theories and all of that. But as the years went on, nagkakaroon ng mga, di ba?
Yeah. So,
Nagkakaroon ng, how do you say,
investigations, all of those things.
Right.
Gusto lang dagdag, no? So, since 9/11 happened po, marami pong naging investigation, may 9/11 Commission, may different investigation by different states and even individual plaintiffs nag-file ng case kasi namatay yung asawa niya, namatay yung firefighter, namatay yung police doon. And they did not give answers. Yung gobyerno po ni George W. Bush, yung anak po ni George Bush Sr., si George Bush, si W ang tinatawag, siya po yung president. When that happened, immediately, si LaRouche po, si Lyndon LaRouche po, ini-interview sa isang radio program in Utah. And then, nung nangyari yon, sinabi na niya, it looks like an attack. Si LaRouche na nagsabi. Because as the news came on, nakikita niya, that was 9 in the morning United States time. 9 in the evening here, nasa news pa po ako, nasa newsroom ako, pinapanood. Kasi kailangan i-report namin. So we were watching the raw video. When that happened, LaRouche also said, sino yung ibibintang kaagad? Aside from the asking about sino yung nagpagawa ng building and all of those things. Sinabi lang niya, sino ba yung binibintang? Ang pinapalabas niya habang nag-iimbestiga because yung news padating slowly, nakikita po niya yung intention. may suspecha siya, and it turned out to be plausible that this was what they call a false flag. False flag operation. Ibig sabihin, yung mismong sariling bansa ang gumawa sa sarili niya para to do something else. What do we know after 9/11? Aside from all of the investigations na sinasabi po ni Chairman na bumagsak yung building parang at the speed of gravity, going down. Dire-diretso po, parang demolition po. Pag nakita niyo po sa internet, lahat ng parang demolition na building, ganun po yung bagsak. Tinamaan daw siya sa taas, pero bumagsak siya parang demolished. 2 building, tapos yung World Trade Center building number 7, na 5 blocks away, na mas maliit, bagsak rin siya. Wala naman tumawa na aeroplano. Ang explanation nila, may mga debris daw na pumunta doon, tapos bagsak rin yung ano. So, yung mga explanation. But what happened after that? So sabi nila, yung mastermind daw, si Osama Bin Laden. So kailangan, ano tayo ng mga militar, pumunta sa Afghanistan. Nandun sila sa Afghanistan, ilang taon, hindi nila mahanap-hanap si Osama Bin Laden. The most advanced military in the world cannot find one man. Okay? Nandun sila, may war, may ano. Shortly after that, sabi nila, itong si Saddam Hussein of Iraq, may weapons of mass destruction. So invade sila sa Iraq. After that, during Obama's time, Syria naman yung kalaban nila. And they wanted to create a villain. Lumabas itong ISIS na napakasama. So kailangan, tapos sinusuportahan daw ng presidente ng Syria, gusto nila magpa-invade dyan sa Syria. So lumalawak at lumalawak since then. Since 2001, ang daming troops na pinapadala ng Amerikano dyan sa Middle East. Parating may gulo dyan. Until now. And only this president po, we go forward to this time, itong presidente, si President Trump, ang nagwi-withdraw ng mga troops. Sabi niya, hindi na kailangan yan. Wala na tayong kalaban dyan, wala na tayong dapat pauwiin na natin yung mga talo na. Just yesterday, I think he announced another 2,000 troop withdrawal from Iraq. Ibig sabihin, nandun sila since 2001. Hindi sila umaalis doon. Sa Afghanistan, umaalis na siya. So it's in line with his promises, his campaign promises. Also, he has said this, yung interview ni Trump na mahaba, so hindi namin na-edit, pero sinabi rin niya, alam mo yung mga taga-Pentagon, yung mga troops, yung mga soldiers, mahal ako eh. Pero yung mga general yata hindi ako mahal, sabi ni Trump. Kasi gusto nila puro gera. Eh ako ayoko ng gera.
Kasama daw yung mga general
Yes.
daw, kasama sa military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
Yan po ang bintang ng mga ibang presidenteng nakaraan. Sila Eisenhower, sila President Kennedy. Ang sinasabi na meron na daw kapag kakuntsaba yung mga malalaking oligarko o negosyo, saka yung mga general na kinakailangan meron silang patuloy na gera para tuloy-tuloy ang negosyo, paggawa ng mga eroplano, ng armas, ganyan-ganyan. At sa atin, nararamdaman na po natin yan. We used to say, ang kailangan ng Amerikano, gera, dahil mahusay sa negosyo. It was quite correct and accurate because that was the military-industrial complex. And what Trump is trying to do now is trying to stop it. No? That's why his life is really in danger. Pero eto po, nung nagbigay siya ng sabi, yung sundalo mahal ako, sabi niya. Pero yung mga general parang ayaw nila ako dahil naapekto yung malaking negosyo.
Yes. Hindi lang kasi imagine po, yung negosyo ng armas, bala,
Lahat.
baril,
Aeroplano.
equipment, aeroplano,
Vapor.
lahat.
Tangke.
Lahat.
Trucks.
Sino nagsusupply ng fuel sa mga military? Sino nagaganyan? Sasabihin nila, ito yung budget. Pupunta kaming Iraq, pupunta kaming Afghanistan. Ito po budget, Congress, approve nyo, bilyon-bilyones. Titigilan ni Trump yan. At tinitigilan niya. Kaya sabi po, araw-araw po, sinasabi ni Chairman, na delikado yung buhay ng presidente ito. Kasi gusto niyang gawin yung tama. Ipigilan niya. So, the last time a president talked about the military-industrial complex, which has expanded into what we now call the deep state, was President Kennedy in 1960. Na may speech po siya sa internet, hindi ko lang na-download, na about the CIA. Na sinabi niya, kailangan buwagin ko yung CIA na yan. Masama yan para sa Amerika. And we will shatter, this quote was, we will shatter the CIA into 1,000 pieces. Ang CIA po, it was built out of World War II kasi intelligence network yan. Helped by the British and the Allies to help to fight Hitler. Pero hindi po nabuwag yan after World War II. Alam po natin yan kasi yung presidente natin si Magsaysay, di ba? Na may parating kasama siya Amerikano,
Lansdale.
Colonel Lansdale, something, who said he was a CIA. May famous picture pa nga eh. Di ba? Sa presidential table, si Magsaysay, tapos si Lansdale nakaupo doon, pero yung paa niya
Nakapatong sa desk ng presidente natin.
ng Pilipinas.
Tapos nagtatabako si Lansdale. Nandiyan sa bisita siya,
Hanapin mo,
pero
Roxanne.
yung paa niya nandun.
Lansdale. Baka mahanap ni Roxanne, may picture. But
Ngayon,
it shows...
itong CIA, ang original name nito nung World War II was OSS, Overseas Secret Service. At nung right after the World War II, they changed the name to Central Intelligence Agency under the State Department. Yung State Department parang nila yan, Foreign Affairs Secretary. Yan ang State Department. So sa ilalim na. So kung ano man ang gustong gawin ng Foreign Affairs Secretary, magpapalit siya ng mga gobyerno, gagawa niya ng paraan, popondohan niya itong mga komunista para labanan yung gobyerno para matanggal, tapos sila naman ang maglalagay ng kanilang mga tuta.
Yes.
No? Yun ang trabaho ng CIA.
Yes. So, network po yan ng mga tao. Depende. May mga businessman, may mga politician, may mga gano'n. Ang layunin yan is to know enough intelligence about any country, any person, so that anything they want, yung interest po ng CIA, or yung US at that time, depende kung anong kailangan gawin, yan ang itutulak nila. Okay? So it is what they call clandestine, or it is not a official ambassador. Hindi. Pailalim po yung labanan dyan. So, parang yung sinasabi na. So, itong si Kennedy, by 1962, he was assassinated 63 November. In Texas. But 1962, meron siyang speech, alam niya po itong CIA. And before Kennedy took office, si Eisenhower, winarningan na siya. Sabi niya, I want to warn you about the military-industrial complex. Because lumawak na yung parang intelligence network. Hindi nakikita ng tao, pero yun yung sa likod, yun yung pinakamalaking parang bureaucracy or...
Ang plano ni Kennedy, itigil agad yung Vietnam War.
Right.
No? Doon kumikita itong military-industrial complex. No? So kung ititigil na yan, no, sabi nila, paano ang negosyo? No? So basically, ganyan po ang nag-isip. Nagkaroon siya ng kalaban, pinatay siya.
Ang presidente nga natin, di ba? Sinasabi niya, actually, marami nang lumalabas na sine about the CIA and the drug running, di ba? And all of that. Pero yung presidente natin, si Duterte, sinabi na nga niya, pag may pumatay sa akin, CIA ang pumatay sa akin. Alam niya kasi kung ano yung nangyayari. Sino-sino yung mga... And these guys control and they have so much funds. that there are many reports na they get from pushing drugs, pushing illegal activities, dun sila kumukuha ng pondo para
Tama, sabi ni Duterte, if anything happens to me, my plane crashes or somebody kills me, blame the CIA.
alam niya.
Sabi niya.
So it's not a secret ganun anymore. So pero lumawak na to po into what they call now the deep state. It's not just the military-industrial complex. Lumawak na po siya, pumunta na sa civilian. Naging judges na po. Yung hawak nila, naging mga politiko na po, naging mga ganyan.
May mga politiko na may mga nasa Wall Street,
Mga
oligarchy, mga nasa gobyerno, mga FBI, mga CIA, tsaka iba-iba pa.
Lumawak.
Pati yung mga general.
Yes.
Tsaka hindi lang yan, kasama na rin yung mga ibang mga opisyalis ng ibang bansa.
Media
No?
also.
Media, yung mga CNN, yung mga yan, kasama sila dyan. Tapos yung sa UK, kasama din nila yan. No?
Yes.
Maski ng mga iba sa ibang bansa, kasama nila yung mga may plano sila.
Yes.
Ang pinakaplano nila, one world government. Na ibubuwagin nila lahat ng gobyerno, pati na rin ang Estados Unidos.
Which is what's happening.
Pati na rin yun, para maitayo nila ang isang one world government na sila lang ang magpapatakbo ng buong mundo. Gagamitin ang militar at gagamitin din nila yung mga ibang mga pamamaraan para makontrol nila ang mga populasyon.
Media number one.
Media ang pinaka nilang tool to be able to disseminate what they want to the people. This is real. No? And this is happening right before our very eyes. And you cannot imagine how organized they are and how widespread they are already.
So ito yung kalaban po ni President Trump. Actually, ito kalaban ng lahat ng patriots, ng lahat ng people sa mundo. Ito po yung klaseng mga taon to. At yung mga taon to, walang pakialam sa kung ano yung tama o mali. Ang pakialam lang nila yung control sa lahat. So kasama din yung health, kasama din yung media, kasama. So, in the following 9/11 po, ngayon lang po nagpapalit yung policy sa US dahil kay Trump. Kaya napapansin nyo, lahat ng CIA network na media, CNN, all of that, even here in Facebook, okay? Galit sila kay Trump. Rappler, fact checker daw. Lahat ng National Endowment for Democracy, yun yung may-ari ng Rappler. They're number one with the deep state. And they are number one with George Soros. Si George Soros po, ang sinasabing siya ang namuno during Hillary Clinton's time. Siya yung deep state during Hillary Clinton's time. Si Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State during Obama presidency. During that time, si George Soros po, ang siya yung nagmamando dyan.
Yan si George Soros, alam niyo po yung International Court of Justice. Siya ang nag-organize niyan. Siya ang pumupondo niyan.
Sa Hague.
Iba pa yan sa Hague. Sa yata yan, Switzerland, International Court of Justice. Tapos ito yung mga linadala nila dito kay Duterte. Dumadaan dito sa human rights.
Commission on Human Rights kay
Gascon. No? Tapos binibintang itong mga EKJ, masamang tao, killer, human rights. Tapos pinapa-imbestiga, tapos daw hahatulan siya ng mga International Court of Justice. And puro puro media, no? Saka sa totoo lang, ang pondo nito kay George Soros lang. Pati na yung mga arbitration courts, katulad dun sa dinaanan natin sa Hague, no? Ang pondo niyan at ang nag-organize yan, sabi nila, ang Pilipinas, hindi po. Ang nag-organize niyan si George Soros.
Using lahat ng
gagamitin, tapos pasok naman yung Pilipino para magamit laban sa China, no? Kasi ganyan po yung ganyan po yung operations nito, itong mga taong.
That is, George Soros is known, siyempre, kilala na natin yan, but we must dig deeper pa kasi marami pa siyang ginagawa, lalo na ngayon, against Trump. George Soros is known as the architect of mga tinatawag na color revolutions. Ito yung mga regime change. And remember po, si George Soros po was involved with Malloch Brown.
Yeah.
Malloch Brown,
Lord Malloch Brown, no?
who started or put up
Dito sa atin yung Smartmatic,
Smartmatic.
saka yung color revolution natin laban kay Marcos, no? Ang isa sa mga nagmamanyobra dito, itong si Lord Malloch Brown, na naging ngayon presidente ng Smartmatic. At ang chairman o yung talagang may-ari ay si George Soros.
Yeah. Marami pong network na konektado dyan.
Yeah. Kaya hindi po basta-basta sasabihin natin, tanggalin niyo yung Smartmatic, malinis na yung ating election. Hindi po ganyan kasi yung mga malalim po ang kanilang mga tentacles. You have to really uproot all of these things.
Sabi nga ni Trump, drain the swamp.
Drain the swamp.
Remember na
Ano ba ang drain the swamp? Sabi mo, explain mo nga.
ang drain the swamp, alam mo yung swamp. What is swamp in Tagalog? Roxy, alam mo yung swamp in Tagalog?
Basta parang may tubig na tapos dahil meron mga gusto kang huliin, no?
Pero malapad yung tubig, di mo makita.
Malabo, hindi mo makita. Tanggalin mo yung tubig.
Yeah.
Drain the swamp.
Para makita mo kung sino.
Lalabas itong mga tiwali. Kaya yun sabi niya, drain the
Yan
swamp.
ang ni Trump, will drain the swamp. Tsaka marami pa po tayong, syempre, we continue discussing this, but lalo na palapit na yung US election. So, but, in the wake of 9/11, tinatawag na false flag. We can even go back. There are many instances po of what they call a false flag operation. Because if ang makikita mo yung intention, ano ba talaga, false flag ba yan o hindi, o conspiracy ba yan, makikita sa epekto. Yung epekto nga, yung Middle East occupation ng US and Western forces. From 2001 to just recent. Okay? So lahat sila nag-i-invade, nagaganyan, dun sila. Okay? So, yun ang epekto ng wala pong maniniwala na si Osama Bin Laden ay yun yung pinakamahirap hanapin na tao sa mundo na hindi kayang hanapin ng buong mundo. Na siya nag-mastermind ng ilang eroplano, ilang Hindi, imposible po yun. Pero siya yung binigtan. Saan siya nakatira? Afghanistan. Doon sila pumunta. And if you know the history, kaya importante po history, yung 70s po, yung Afghan War, yung si Osama Bin Laden mismo, tao ng CIA doon.
Palagay ko hanggang ngayon.
Yeah.
Kasi meron po mga nagsasabi, hindi talagang namatay si Osama Bin Laden. Dahil nung pinatay daw siya, bigla-bigla na lang tinapon sa dagat yung katawan. Wala nang nakakita kung anong talaga ng sitwasyon na mayroong litrato na malabo.
Yes.
Yung pagkapatay na siya, pero wala talagang naka-imbestiga dahil tinapon na daw nila sa dagat. No? Tapos lahat ng 18 tao na nag-operate para patayin siya, sila mismo patay na rin ngayon. No? Kanya nagtataka yung mga tao, bakit ganyan? Ang chances of that happening is in terms of probability is so weird. No? Kaya all of these things are questions that we have to ask.
Yes. Pero ngayon, may development na. There are local courts in Texas and in New York that have issued a subpoena. Or subpoena, do you say issued?
Yeah.
That the Saudi, they are asking Saudi Arabian government to produce certain individuals and all of their records because of the 9/11.
Right.
So ngayon, they were, ayun, yan ba yan? Pakita nga, Roxanne? Ikaw. Yan ba sila? Hindi, meron pang isa. Hanapin niyo po. Yan si Magsaysay yata. And then si Lansdale, nakaputi siya, may cigar siya. Diba? Iba yung, ano. But anyway, I'm sure some of our viewers can find that. But ngayon, may mga kaso kasi. Pati po yung mga firefighters kasi doon. Noong nangyari po, tumama yung aeroplano or tumama sa taas, yung mga firefighters at police nag-mobilize na. Habang umaakit daw sila, may naririnig silang sumasabog sa baba, hindi sa taas. Yan po ang mga eyewitness accounts na hindi binibigyan ng pansin. Pero yung original accounts, so naalala ko pa po because I was in the news, so minomonitor ko po lahat yun at that time. Sinasabi nila, may narinig akong sumabog dyan, which is not the case. Only if you're demolishing a building.
Ang pag-demolish daw ng building, maski tanong nyo, madalas nyo nakikita yan sa TV, di ba po? Pag luma na yung building, kailangan nilang sirain mabilis para makapagpatayo silang another building. Embed lang, pinupupok nila ganyan. Linalagyan nila mga dinamita sa mga iba-ibang mga lugar ng building. Tapos, by computer o paputukin nila yun sabay-sabay. Tapos yung musmong building, buong-buo. Makikita nyo bumabagsak na ganyan. At yung mga tabing mga building hindi po nasisira. Kasi ang pagbagsak po nito ay diretso, pababa. No?
Hindi magulo.
Yung pong technology na yun daw ang ginawa dito sa World Trade Center. Kanya po dire-diretso ang pagbagsak. At hindi gumanito, hindi gumayan yung building, dire-diretso dalawang building.
Marami pa pong marami, siyempre, alam natin yung ilang taon na yun, 2001, that's 20 years ago. So marami pa pong mga documentary na lumalabas, mapapa-question ka. And yung mga Amerikano po, for 20 years, they've been questioning this. Yung mga media lang po at yung tinatawag natin na deep state. Remember, George Bush, tapos naging si Clinton, right? And then Obama. Clinton, George Bush, Obama. Each of them po 8 years in office.
Yeah.
So that's 24 years po. And ngayon lang po si Trump, who is not a Republican and not a Democrat, is trying to undo that. Alam niyo po, may mga haka-haka, may mga lumalabas na reports from yung QAnon po na meron na silang ini-indict na tao from 9/11, participation in 9/11. Lalabas siguro at lalabas yan soon na. Pero ang sinasabi nila, treason po yan kasi pumatay ka ng sarili mo. So yan po ang kalaban ni Trump. That's the 9/11.
Huwag nyo pong ilagay sa isip ninyo na mga campaigners kami ni Trump. Hindi po ganyan. No? Wala po kaming, hindi namin kakilala yan, hindi po namin, pero nakikita po namin yung impact sa buong mundo at dito sa ating bansa rin. No?
Right.
Ang kalaban po ni Trump ay itong mga globalists, itong mga deep state, itong mga gustong ibagsak lahat ng mga bansa. Ang ayaw nila yung concept or idea of sovereignty. Ayaw nila yung mga independent nation. Kalaban nila yan. Gusto nila bagsak lahat tapos silang magtatayo ng isang global government. No? At gagamitin nila lahat. Gagamit sila ng kanilang sariling kayanan. It will have its own military. Probably the US military will be used there together with the others. Sila ang magiging one world government and they will impose whatever rules they want on the people of the world. That is their plan. And we are moving towards that. The only one right now that can stop that, no? Whether you like him or not, never mind na lahat ng kanilang mga campaign, no? Kasi maraming nangangampanya, kala mo kung ano, may hina talaga ang pag-iisip dito sa ganito. Whether or not you like him, we must understand that this is the fight for the sovereign nation states, fighting for their independence, and these people who want one world government, no independence of all nations.
Globalization.
The only one that is now in the position of fighting them is a guy named Donald Trump. And he does not like what they are planning to do. And because he does not like it, he's not going to play that game. They are going against him. This is the simple explanation of what is going on right now. Ayaw nila ang mga sovereign nation state.
Alala mo when Duterte, yung pinaka na sabi nila, kinausap niya si Obama, di ba? Tapos minura daw niya or hindi natin alam kung ano talagang sinabi ni Obama because si Presidente Duterte wasn't clear. The point is, it seemed like Obama was trying to tell him what to do. Because remember po, si Pinoy, before that, Pinoy was talagang kahit anong gustong gawin nila Obama at ni Hillary at yung US, gagawin niya.
As liquor si Pinoy.
So sasabihin nila, awayin mo yung China. Awayin niya. Gawin mong ganito. So wala siyang sariling No, President Duterte gets elected, gets a phone call from Obama, and he went against Obama.
Minura niya. So we can only imagine, and the way Obama, that time, si Barack Obama works, and is probably gusto niya, ituloy mo yung gagawin ni Pinoy, or else, may threaten. Alam mo naman si Presidente, ayaw niya yung sabi daw ni Obama sa kanya, meron kaming $700 million na ibibigay sa inyo as US aid. Kung hindi ka susunod sa amin, mawawala yung US aid na yan. Dito, diyan niya minura. Sabi niya,
we're a sovereign country.
We are no longer your colony.
Yes.
Sabi niya, we are not your slaves.
Yes.
Sabi niya ganyan. If you don't give us anything, it's all right. Because there are other countries that are willing to help us. Kaya po tayo napapunta sa China at sa Russia.
Yes. And kaya po kami, kay Presidente, doon kami na nabilib kay President Duterte.
Dahil ang tapang niyang sagutin na itong si Obama.
Yes.
Ako, sabi ko, for whatever it's worth, he defined this presidency.
Because Obama was already angling for a war, right?
Yes.
So,
They were preparing for a war. Si Obama. Tandaan niyo po, nung na-elect si Duterte, wala pang eleksyon sa Amerika.
Yes. May 2016.
May tayo, Trump, November pa yung election nila. So dito pa sa May, sinasabihan na ni kasi iniisip nila, sila yung mananalo pagdating sa Nobyembre.
Si Hillary.
Hindi nanalo. Ibang plano ng Diyos. Ilagay natin itong taong to dyan. Na hindi politiko.
Hindi.
Actually, hindi man siya talagang Republican kasi wala lang siyang partido kanya napapunta siya sa Republican dahil kalaban sila Hillary.
Right.
Kanya wala siyang tao. Hanggang ngayon, wala siyang tao dito sa Republican Party.
Actually, parang si President Duterte.
Parang Duterte nga.
Oh.
Tapos, yung mga tao dyan, mga pinipili niya, yung mga iba hindi na matatanggal. Katulad ni si Pompeo,
Right.
Republican Party yan, tsaka yung kanyang National Security Advisor, Republican Party yan. Mga anti-China, gustong bombahin ng China.
Parang Senator Bongo ba?
Ewan ko kung ganyan si Bongo, pero
Para bang ganyan?
parang, ewan ko, no? Hindi natin alam ang balakad ni Bongo, pero yung mga yan, hindi nga matanggal. Bakit? Pag tinanggal niya yung Pompeo, baka yung buong Republican Party naman, i-abandon siya pagdating ng eleksyon. Matatalo siya. No?
So parang nagsa-strategize muna siya how to do it. Ano yung pinaka-effective na way to do it. So, but we see, na sinasabi nga ni Chairman, is that we see the value of someone like Duterte when he came on office. Biglang bumaba yung danger ng war. Kasi sabi niya, hindi kami susunod, hindi namin naawayin yung China basta-basta. Hindi ako si Pinoy. Okay, hindi kami ganyan. Don't order us around. Tapos nanalo si Trump. Nag-usap sila. Bisita pa nga si Trump dito for the forum. They talk. And until now, he supports Trump. Even if he is supporting China and having good friends with China and Russia, hindi siya galit sa US. So he has an independent foreign policy in that sense. So we still support the president. The problem is, like Caesar, he is surrounded by a lot of, our president is surrounded by a lot of,
Tsaka sa atin po, tingnan nyo yung mga iba, minsan meron po nagko-comment sa amin, kasi Trump, kasi ganyan. Ayoko nang patulan kasi masyadong mababaw yung kanilang hanggang doon na lang sa politika no?
Yeah.
Di nila alam yung mga underlying conditions where that's what's happening not just to the US but to the rest of the world.
Big picture.
Maski dito kay Duterte. Maski dito kay Duterte. Nakikita niyo po meron kaming hinihingi na state of emergency, mga ganyan. Kasi meron po tayo nakikita na sa ilalim niya na gumagalaw para bumagsak siya Sa kanya ibibintang itong pagbagsak no? At yung pagkulapso ng ating ekonomiya, sa kanya ibibintang, hindi naman dito sa mga economic advisors di ba? So ang pinutulak po namin ito para makuha niya at maayos niya so that we can make a recovery program na tunay na recovery. Pero sa amin po palagay, itong mga taong katabi niya ay ibang isip. At sinasabi ko na traidor sa bayan yung mga yan. Ngayon, siguro, hindi ko alam, tinanong mo si Bongo, hindi ko naman alam about Bongo. Pero, kung alam ni Bongo yan, itutulak niya dito sa sinasabi namin na Article 12. Pero kung hindi alam ni Bongo yan, gusto sabihin mahina siya, hindi siya magaling. Dapat nakikita niya yan para tama ang advice niya sa presidente. Any rate, huwag tayong masyadong pumunta dyan.
But it's a good context na pareho-pareho yung laban natin. US, tayo, even China, even Russia. They want to be independent, sovereign. And ang natin, going off from 9/11, yung September 11 attacks, that in effect put the New World Order in power. Lumawak pa lalo yung deep state. Lumawak pa yung kanilang mga kagaguhan sa lahat ng bagay. Lumakas yung control nila sa mainstream media. Lumakas yung control nila sa Ang kalaban po ni Duterte, sinasabi niya CIA, is the same networks that Trump is fighting. Okay? So because if Soros's network includes the National Endowment for Democracy supporting our media organizations here, then it's the same network that is going against Duterte. Okay? So pareho po yung laban. Di po natin alam kung nakikita po ni Duterte yan, that Trump is fighting thing. But there's a clue because Duterte also endorsed Trump. He said, he thinks Trump should win the elections and no matter what. But we want to go back to, I want to show you a speech from Richard Grenell. He was the former National Security Advisor, I think, if I'm not mistaken, no? During the Republican National Convention. Itong speech po medyo because parang nilabas niya ang mga miyembro ng Deep State at bakit, sino yung mga kalaban ni Trump at anong pinaglalaban ni Trump talaga.
In-identify niya yung mga miyembro ng Deep State.
Yeah.
At pag sinasabi po natin Deep State, ito yung mga parang hindi natin nakikitang mga muka, no? Pero umagalaw para ibagsak ang Amerika, no? Para maitayo nila yung one world government. Ito yung Deep State.
So sige, play natin, Rox.
During the presidential primary debates 4 years ago, one outsider stood alone and said in public what most Americans thought in private. It was 14 years after the start of the war in Afghanistan and 12 years after the invasion of Iraq, where thousands of American troops had died and trillions in taxpayer dollars had been spent. And yet no candidate could bring themselves to admit that something had gone badly wrong with American foreign policy. That the American voter, the American soldier, and the American taxpayer had all been let down. Except for one, Donald Trump. He called America's endless wars what they were, a disaster. The media was shocked because Donald Trump was running as a Republican. And yet he said out loud what we all knew, that American foreign policy was failing to make Americans safer. After the end of the Cold War, Democrats and Republicans in Washington bought into the illusion that the whole world would start to resemble America. And so they started to pursue unlimited globalization. They welcomed China into the World Trade Organization. They engaged in nation building in Afghanistan and tried to export democracy to Iraq. They signed a nuclear deal with Iran and a global climate agreement in Paris. But they didn't ground any of it in the interests of the average American. So for decades, while Washington politicians built a global system, American wages stagnated. Our great cities and industries were hollowed out. Entire communities were devastated. And our manufacturing plants were shipped off to China. That's what happened when Washington stopped being the capital of the United States and started being the capital of the world. As U.S. Ambassador to Germany, I had a front row seat to Donald Trump's America First foreign policy. I wish every American could see how President Trump negotiates on their behalf. I've watched President Trump charm the Chancellor of Germany while insisting that Germany pay its NATO obligations. I was proud to witness President Trump say to foreign leaders, "I don't blame you for wanting America to pay for your security. I actually respect you for out-negotiating the presidents before me. But it stops with me. I won't let the American taxpayer be taken advantage of." Donald Trump's administration has always made clear that our priority is the American people's security. That's the job of all leaders, to put their people first. And we've seen how this strategy has succeeded. In 4 short years, Donald Trump has led even some Washington Democrats to agree on the Chinese threat, on trade deals that benefit America first, on alliances that share responsibility. In 4 years, Donald Trump didn't start any new wars. He brought troops home. He rebuilt the military and signed peace deals that make Americans safer. The Washington elites want you to think this kind of foreign policy is immoral, and so they call it nationalist. That tells you all you need to know. The DC crowd thinks when they call Donald Trump a nationalist, they're insulting him. As if the American president isn't supposed to base foreign policy on America's national interests. A return to the Biden way of thinking means America gives the radical terrorist regime in Tehran a plane load of cash in the middle of the night. Well, you see, President Trump also sent an aircraft in the middle of the night to deal with Iran. But that plane was on a different mission. An airstrike to take out the head of Iran's terror machine who plotted the deaths of Americans. But we also must be clear that when those who seek freedom take tremendous personal risk in places like Hong Kong, Tehran, or Minsk, there is no doubt who President Trump's administration supports. We will always stand with the people who fight for their God-given freedoms. Don't be fooled. The Washington establishment is trying to sell you on their candidate. Joe Biden was first elected to the Senate in 1972, 48 years ago. Well, it's actually the typical Washington story. Just this year, 22 Democrats ran for president. They rejected all of the outsiders and nominated the ultimate Washington insider, someone they had to pull out of retirement. Every time Joe Biden offers a new idea, you should ask yourself, why didn't he try that over the last 48 years? Today, the Democrats blame a global pandemic that started in China on President Trump. And they still blame Russia for Hillary Clinton's loss in 2016. As acting director of national intelligence, I saw the Democrats' entire case for Russian collusion. And what I saw made me sick to my stomach. The Obama-Biden administration secretly launched a surveillance operation on the Trump campaign and silenced the many brave intelligence officials who spoke up against it. They presented bogus information as facts. They lied to judges. Then they classified anything that undermined their case. And after Donald Trump won the election, when they should have continued the American tradition of helping the president-elect transition into the White House, they tried instead to undercut him even more. Former Vice President Joe Biden asked intelligence officials to uncover the hidden information on President Trump's incoming national security advisor 3 weeks before the inauguration. That's the Democrats. Between surveillance, classifications, leaks, and puppet candidates, they never want the American people to know who's actually calling the shots. But with Donald Trump, you always know exactly who is in charge. Because the answer is you. You're in charge. Not lobbyists, not special interests, not warmongers or China sympathizers or globalization fanatics. With Donald Trump and Mike Pence in the White House, the boss is the American people. President Trump rightly calls his foreign policy America First. America First does not advance the interests of one group of Americans at the expense of another. It has no bias about red or blue, educated or not educated, urban or rural. America First is simply the belief that politicians should focus on the equality and dignity of every American, and that this duty is fulfilled by promoting the safety and wealth of the American people above all else. That's America First. That's the Trump doctrine. And that, my friends, is 4 more years.
All right, that was Richard Grinnell, former National Intelligence, Director of National Intelligence. So makita niyo po, sinasabi ko kay Chairman na nag-ano siya, sinabi niya na he actually made an accusation against President Obama, Joe Biden, about what they did. Ito po ay medyo mabigat na accusation na they spied on Trump's campaign, and they used a lot of their corrupt tactics just so that Trump will not get elected. Lies and ano. Mabigat na accusation po yan, and he said it in public. Pero hanggang ngayon po, alam po nila kasi na may investigation na ongoing ngayon with Obama, kay Obama, Hillary, and the rest of hindi lang po pang election to, pero yun yung parte na sinasabi ng drain the swamp. So, marami pa siyang ibang sinasabi about China, about like that. Pero ang importante po dyan, I would focus on what he is doing, what the intention is when Trump comes to the presidency. Again, gusto ko lang i-emphasize, hindi kami Trump campaigners, but because of...
Ang assumption naman natin, kayo po, hindi naman kayo bumoboto kay Trump, right? Pilipino kayo.
Right.
Namin din tayo. Pero we have to understand what's going on. No? Ang importante po yan na maintindihan natin. At malaman natin kung anong posisyon siguro ng ating bansa tungkol sa mga nangyayari ngayon.
Yeah.
Kaya gusto ko lang ibigyan ng konting pansin. Itong ilang beses sinabi nitong si Green na ang policy ni Trump ay America first. Wala pong masama dun eh. Tayo po noong panahon ni Carlos P. Garcia, ang policy po natin, Filipino first. Filipino first policy. Ang ibig po sabihin ni Trump, ang mga ibang bayan, kinakailangan manguna yung kanilang bayan. Siyempre kasi kung Pilipino ka, kailangan manguna ang Pilipino. Ang interes ng Pilipino bago pa iba. Ganyan din po si Trump. Kaya kailangan protektado yung Amerika. No? Hindi yung nangyari noon. Kanya ang nangyari noon, parang America was trying to get the whole world to follow Washington DC. At kanya inaano niya yung ekonomiya ng mga ibang bansa na nakatali dito sa Amerika.
Kasama na tayo doon.
Kasama na tayo doon. Tapos, lahat ng kakailanganin natin, silang pinupuntahan natin. Yun ang gusto nila dahil papunta na yan nga dito sa globalization.
But it destroyed America.
But it was in a way destroying America. Up to now, their intention is to destroy America. And in effect, destroy the rest of the world economy. Tingnan niyo po ngayon sa COVID. Hindi ba bumabagsak lahat ng ekonomiya? Dahil dyan sa COVID na yan. Ang intention po, hindi talaga yung COVID. Ang intention ay yung pagbagsak ng ekonomiya.
Bumundo. So, and the other thing is, again, remind ko lang po kayo, if you want to look at his past announcements and speeches, again, kailangan i-emphasize, and that's why we support him, even if we're not campaigning for him. Support. Because remember po, sinabi niya sa harap ng G7 nations, I think it was the World Economic Forum or something, sabi niya, the future is not globalization. The future is sovereign nations. Future belongs to patriots. And sinabi niya yon, in-emphasize niya yon. So, syempre, as a Filipino who loves his country, gusto mo yung sinasabi ng US President na to. At ayaw ng mga globalization. Sino ngayon ang mga kalaban niya? And he was saying, and he also said, America, I want a strong America, but I also want a strong Russia, a strong China, a strong other countries should make their countries great again. Yan ang Trump. Sabi niya, wala naman kami pakialam eh. I will take care of America. You take care of your country. You take care of your country. And then sinasabi nga niya, wala siyang regime change policy. Wala siyang...
Pero mo, ang laking pangako niya yan, ha? Well, during his presidency, wala siyang tatanggalin na leader para ilagay yung kanyang gustong leader.
Right.
Well, ginagawa ng mga CIA noon pa.
Ginawa ni Bush, Clinton, Obama.
Ginawa ni Bush, Clinton, Obama. At tandaan nyo, inumpisahan nila din yan. Yung panahon ni Marcos, ginawa nila yan.
Right.
Sa Shah of Iran, ginawa
Yes.
nila yan.
Yes.
CIA.
Yes.
CIA ang kumakamada.
Yes.
No? Naging normal na sa atin, hindi tayo na hindi tayo na iskandalo. No?
Yeah.
At dito, ganyan din ang gagamitin at pati ang presidente natin. Kanya sabi ni Presidente Duterte, pag namatay ako at may pumatay sa akin, blame the CIA. Alam niya, no? Na pwedeng doon manggaling.
Pero remember, Chairman, ano yung first weapon ng deep state? The first weapon that they will use for regime change is
Media. No?
diba?
Mainstream media.
Mainstream media. And here in the Philippines, the biggest mainstream media, sabihin na natin, there was ABS-CBN, which nobody will question na anti-Duterte yung mga report nila. During the election, so ano sila, 100% Marrojas sila, di ba?
Right.
So yan so when Duterte sat, wala na tayong nakitang news from the biggest network in the Philippines, except killings, drug killings. Sino pa yung sunod niyan? Rappler, Inquirer. All the mainstream media have not put Duterte in a favorable light. Not to say that they should, kung mali talaga, mali. But, inaatake po nila.
Ganyan na rin si Trump,
Which is what
CNN, pati na rin ang Fox News.
Yes.
So, Fox News, kung titingnan nyo pong mabuti, meron mga isa o dalawa silang solid na kay Trump.
Right.
Pero yung karamihan, pag merong editorial sila, o meron makikita mo, nakatutok pa rin sila sa anti-China at anti-Russia.
Yes.
Kasi-
ang gusto nga natin sa LaRouche is that Trump cooperates with Xi Jinping
Yes.
and Putin and Modi
of
of
India.
India. Actually, maganda relationship ni Trump with India because of the medicines.
Yeah.
And kung pumunta kayo sa internet, sa YouTube, tignan nyo po yung visit ni Trump sa India, grabe. Grabe yung reception ng Indians kay Trump.
Gusto nila
Gusto nila. So, we need to have those four powers, sabi nga ni Lyndon LaRouche, those four powers getting together and putting in a new, just world economic system. Yes, order. So that more countries can grow under this. Hindi pwedeng isa lang, hindi pwedeng dalawa, kailangan cooperate nila. Ang ayaw niyan, and historical enemy, I think, of all nations, has been based in Britain now, but yung tinatawag na natin na globalists. These are the cabal na sinasabi natin. These are the heads of the deep state. These are the royal families of Europe na kasama dyan, yung mga oligarchy. Ayaw nila. So, gagawa sila ng intriga para mag-aaway itong. Yan ang ayaw namin. Yan po ang sinasabi natin. Wala tayong magagawa dyan kung nagkagera na. Yan po ang gusto natin. Kaya nga sa LaRouche, kailangan may 4-power solution. Sabi nga ni LaRouche, kailangan 4 yan na magkasama. Those are the biggest economy.
Kasi these 4 countries comprise more than 1/2 of the world population. And all of these 4 countries are actually nuclear power. Pag nagsama po yung 4 na yan, may kaibigan at hahanap sila ng collaboration,
Yes.
wala pong world war. Kasi yung Russia, China, magkasama sa Amerika. Pag pinaghiwalay mo po yan, malaki po ang chance na magkaroon ng gera. Kaya kailangan pag nagsama yan, you're actually talking about development of the whole world.
Yes.
On the basis of collaboration of sovereign nation states. looking for a system that will improve the life of all population. Yan po ang prinsipyo na itinutulak.
And us in the Philippines, Duterte should support this type of, right?
Yes.
And he should say, sama ako dyan. Tama kami dyan as Filipinos because you're not impinging on our sovereignty. You're helping us help ourselves. So parang ganun yung dapat yung policy natin, foreign policy natin.
Kung makausap po natin sana, o kung makausap nyo si President Duterte, ituro nyo ito.
Yes.
Para meron tayong masasabing magandang foreign policy. No? Ituro nyo ito for nation coalition that will start a cooperation,
yes.
collaboration
Yes.
of all sovereign nation states
Yes.
for the improvement of the quality of life of all populations and posterity.
Yep.
Yan po, that's the best foreign policy we can
Hope for. Yes.
hope for.
Yes.
And it's going to come from Duterte, no?
Yes.
Palagay ko, pag napaliwanag natin sa kanya to, sasabihin niya, okay, inalang iba-ibang bumubulong sa kanya.
Yeah, imagine si Duterte, friends with Russia, friends with China, and historically we are with the US. And Trump and him have a good relationship as far as we can see. He can be a catalyst with that. For these things. But anyway, going back to mainstream media and yung mga news, I wanted to play a clip sana from our usual online channel, which is which we like to play. One America News Network, about what mainstream media did not tell you this week. So we get the real news from One America News Network po. Ito bago pa lang the news organization po starting up. But apparently it's being supported also by certain patriots in America.
Mga independent po sa Amerika, itong kanilang binabantayan. Kasi alam nila mga CNN at mga basura kasi yung inalabas. No? So itong...
At least ito, talaga news. Ito yung talaga nangyayari. So are we ready? Okay, go.
What the mainstream media was afraid to tell you about the news this week. This week, while the mainstream media was obsessing about the Bob Woodward controversy, here are the things that happened that really matter. The editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, admits that the central claim of his hit piece could be wrong. After publishing an article claiming President Trump canceled his trip to the French-American cemetery in France in 2018 because Trump didn't want to honor military veterans, and citing 4 anonymous sources, 20 on-the-record sources have refuted Goldberg's claims, including John Bolton and others who were actually there at the time. In addition, an official White House memo shows the reason why the trip was canceled at the last minute was due to inclement weather. But did the mainstream media report that Jeffrey Goldberg admitted the central claim of his hit piece was false? Nope, they barely mentioned it. In the wake of Nancy Pelosi getting her hair done indoors at a salon in San Francisco, even though you aren't allowed to do the same thing, a new report reveals it's not just Pelosi who's playing by a different set of rules. Government gyms in San Francisco have been open for months, despite private gyms being forced to close. But did the mainstream media report on this double standard? No. The mainstream media was silent. A new study claims the Sturgis motorcycle rally in South Dakota was a COVID-19 super spreader event. But that study has been roundly debunked. In fact, no medical journal would publish the study. Instead, it was posted online on the Institute of Labor Economics website. Why? Because the study was based on a model, not reality. It based its conclusion on 1 day of Uber testing and then didn't adjust for the testing levels. The study also ignored the fact that South Dakota has seen 0 changes in deaths from COVID since Sturgis, and that the number of new COVID cases nationwide is actually down since Sturgis. Finally, the chart used in the study was statistical manipulation because not only did they use 1 day of Uber testing, they ended the study right when the data stopped showing what they wanted it to show. But did the mainstream media report that? Don't know. The mainstream media ate it up. Disney thanks half a dozen Chinese Communist Party entities, including a propaganda department and a police department in Xinjiang, China, where the movie was filmed, which is also the same location where the Chinese Communist Party is putting millions of Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps. Not only did Disney film in that location while the extermination of Uyghurs was taking place nearby, they actually thanked the same Chinese Communist Party government entities who are carrying out this brutal persecution and oppression. But did the mainstream media report on this? Not really. Netflix released a new movie called Cuties. The movie is about 11-year-old girls who are part of a twerking dance troupe. The movie's beyond disturbing. In fact, it's child pornography. It portrays 11-year-old children doing explicitly sexual dances, posing in sex positions, touching themselves sexually on a stage. The movie actually reveals the naked breast of one of the 11-year-old girls and features crotch shots of the girls while dancing. But did the mainstream media report on this horrible sexual exploitation of children? No. In fact, multiple left-wing outlets actually defended the disgusting movie. The mainstream media doesn't care to report any of that to you, so we will. And that is my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. As always, it's an honor and a privilege to sit here and talk to you every night about the things that matter. So thank you. And that's all I have for you tonight.
All right, so that was One American News Network. Si Liz Wheeler po gives a summary of what's going on America, going on sometimes the world, lalo na yung sinasabi niya about COVID. There was something anomalous na naman sa testing. Kasi pag nakikita niyo po ngayon sa US, ang dami ng malabas na walang mask, walang ganun. Kasi kinu-question nila lahat numbers. This is on the heels of yung 6% na ginago nila yung website to reflect the numbers na 6% lang po out of the 150,000 reported deaths na is due to COVID alone. Yung iba po may mga underlying conditions. So from that, ang dami ng lumalabas na studies, independent. Tapos yung mainstream media, hindi nila nire-report yun intentionally. Minsan nga sa Facebook, pag nag-post po tayo, hindi nila pinapalabas. Sabi nila maling information daw. Pero yung mga ibang kagaguhan dyan sa Facebook, okay lang ilabas sa Facebook.
Yeah, I think we should all be warned that in the coming days, Facebook will be cutting off some accounts or suspending some accounts because they don't want certain information to come out. Ayaw nila. Basta meron silang isang direction na gagawin. Tapos ang sabihin nila na hindi daw fully supported of data itong sasabihin itong mga ibang tao. Alam niyo po, Facebook is supposed to be a
Platform for
all
ideas.
kinds of ideas, whether it's true or not. Yan, ganyan po ang nangyari noon.
Yes.
Pero ngayon, meron na po silang tinatawag na fact-checking. Pero yung mga fact-checkers nila, katulad dito sa atin, ang binigyan nilang na
partner nila dito,
yung binigyan nilang authority para maging fact-checkers, para mag-suspend ng mga na account ninyo,
yes,
ay Rappler. Ang Rappler po, may kasong libel na fake news ang linalabas nitong si Rappler.
Hindi lang kaso, judgment. There's libel talaga.
They're already libel, convicted.
Convicted.
Of libel. Naka-ano lang siya,
Naka-bail.
Naka-out on bail, si Maria Ressa. Pero siya, yung fact-checker, siya yung magsasabi kung nagsisinungaling ka o hindi.
Pero siya mismo
may kaso. convicted, no?
Yeah.
Ano ba naman yan? Hindi lang yan, tax cases nila, ganyan-ganyan. Pero imagine,
Yes.
this is, it's absurd, di ba po? Pero ginagawa nila yan. So you have to be, you have to be forewarned, no? Not for you to be afraid, no? But to understand that these are people that are going to do whatever is necessary, for these lies to be promoted, and they have to dumb down the population. They have to keep them stupid. Because if the people are not stupid, they cannot be controlled.
Right.
If they are dumb, they can be controlled because they will follow what is being said. Pero pag alam nyo na po ang katotohanan, kasi paano bagbalik-baligtarin nila, hindi po lulusot sa inyo. And this is the situation. Sa akin, demonic na itong laban na ito, no? And this is a fight between good and evil. And those that want to fight for the good will be the patriots. Dahil nakikita nila kung ano talagang nangyari.
No, speaking of demonic, nakita mo yung isang news about that that movie about these young girls.
Anong pangalan nun?
Cuties.
Meron
Di pa pinapalabas
meron
dito.
daw lalabas na sine dyan sa Netflix. Netflix, ang pangalan, Cuties, ang mga bata daw, 11 taon. Pinapasayaw nila ng malalaswa, tsaka gagamitin nila sa pornography, no? Nasa sine, Cuties. Cute daw, cute, no? Pero mo ilalabas ito at maski na paano pipigilin sila ng gobyerno dahil malaswa talaga, pornographic. Mayroon mga dumidepensa galing dito sa mga Democrats at mga liberals, no? Ang sinasabi, hindi, okay lang yan, this is freedom of speech and all of that sort of thing, no? But you see what's going on.
Just like the law they passed in California. Diba? Yung bagong law that allows relationship with diba? So that's all being pushed.
Sa California, meron ng batas na ilinabas sila na pwede na daw ang pedophilia. Basta sumasang-ayon daw yung minor de edad. No? If the minor consents to the pervert actions, no? You cannot charge the adult for pedophilia because the minor is consenting, right? Yan daw, batas na daw yan. Para saan yan mga ganyang klaseng batas? Di ba para sa mga sirang ulo? Para dito sa mga pedophiles, no? It's going on now, and that is what Trump is trying to stop.
Yes. That is what also yung mga deep state ang pinupush. That's
Mga deep state, tinutulak po yan.
with the Democrats.
Kaya po, tingnan nyo ngayon sa Hollywood, no? Ang dami pa walang mga artista dyan na nagpapagamit dito sa mga organisasyon na ito, no? Para nga masira ang pag-iisip ng mga tao at mga kabataan, no? We have to fight it, no? We have to fight it because we know what is right and what is wrong, no? Huwag na tayo wag yung mababaw na politika, no? Yung mababaw na politika, Trump is bad because he says this, because he's got a sexy wife and so on and so forth, no? Tapos ginawa niya ito nung bata siya, kaya ayaw nila si Trump. Tapos ganyan pa magsalita, mayabang siya magsalita. Huwag kayong madadala sa ganyang klaseng superficial.
Parang Duterte.
Superficial issues. Tignan niyo po yung ginagawa. Look at the results of what they do. It's the actions that really speak louder than the words. Dito po kay Duterte. Kaya po kami sa KDP, hindi po nawawalan ng pag-asa. Kasi po, pag nakita nyo na, ito yung salita niya. Nakikita natin, ito yung gawa. Kadalasan, nahuhuli yung gawa sa salita. Minsan, sobra-sobra na yung salita, pero yung gawa hindi umaandar. Kanya ang sinasabi po natin, bakit ayaw umandar yung gawa? Katulad ng paglalaban niya sa oligarko. Ang conclusion po natin ay pinipigil ng mga tauhan. Hindi magawa. Pinipigil nila Jokno, nila Dominguez,
Cusi.
nila Cusi, nila sabi nila pati daw si Bongo, no? Pinipigil na umarya ang presidente laban sa mga oligarko. No? Eh yung salita ng presidente, okay na. Naghihintay ka ng susunod na aksyon. Pigil. Ngayon, sinong binibintangan ng tao ngayon? No? Tayo, sinasabi natin, kabinete. Pero yung marami dyan mga tao nagsasabi, presidente, baka linoloko lang tayo. This is the conclusion and they are actually destroying Duterte. This cabal, these cabinet members, these so-called advisors are in effect destroying Duterte himself. And so what if he gets destroyed? Anyway, they are rich already. At pag dahil ang iiral, mga oligarko, buhay pa rin sila. By that time, wala na silang pakialam kay Duterte. This is what's happening. No? And kala ng mga ibang mga DDS, kalaban namin si Duterte, hindi po. Huwag po kayong madala sa ganyan. Palaliman nyo lang kononte ang inyong pag-iisip and you will see. Going back to Trump, the same thing. The same thing. You know? And this is what is happening, and they're doing this to him in order to take control. They cannot take control unless they dumb down the people. You know? And Trump is trying to tell the people about what is important. Itong meron ng mga pahayag ngayon na sinasabi itong draining the swamp. Inihintay nila na itong mga taong may kagagawan ng 9/11, yung pagsabog ng dalawang building, no? May indict na, makakasuhan na. Ito'y mga napakataas na posisyon sa gobyerno na sila ang nagplano at sila ang kumamada kasama nila, kakontsaba nila yung Saudi Arabia. Yung kasama nila yung Saudi Arabian ambassador, no? Diyan, dito sa 9/11. Ang plano doon talaga hindi basta lang sirain yung dalawang building, magkaroon ng reason to invade the Middle East. At buhat doon, hindi na sila lumabas sa Middle East.
Hindi na.
Kinuha na nila lahat ng mga langis, yung mga oil fields. Yun ang talagang kinuha. Sa Libya, yun ang kinuha nila, yung oil fields. Diba po? Yung ISIS, ginawa nila yung ISIS para buwagin itong mga namumuno sa iba-ibang bansa. Sa Syria, gusto nilang buwagin itong si Assad.
Assad.
No?
This is
Pero sinong gumawa ng ISIS? Sila rin. Yan yung binigyan nila ng, ito yung Al-Qaeda, binigyan nila ng armas sa Libya para patayin si Gaddafi, tapos linipat nila dito sa Syria, pero inibang pangalan, ISIS naman. Bakit yung ISIS, tanong nyo sa sarili nyo, bakit yung ISIS walang pinapatay na Hudyo? Wala silang hinahanap na Jews. Hindi ba ba?
Saka ngayon, may balita ba tayo with ISIS? Wala na.
Wala na. Pero yung ISIS na pumunta na dito sa Pilipinas.
Pero wala na because Obama's not in power anymore.
Yes.
That's what they're saying. Kasi po, kontrolado nila yung paglagan ng ISIS.
Don't fall into superficiality. Pag nakita nyo ngayon, kinakailangan meron kang inquisitive mind. Kinakailangan medyo suspicious ka dito sa naririnig mo. Pagtanong-tanong ka sa sarili mo dahil kakayanin mong mahanapan ng totoo eh. No? Kung ano ka, kung nakahanda kang mag-alam. Hindi yung katulad ng mga iba, naghahanap na lahat. Pag nakakita sila ngayon, eto na yung katotohanan. Not necessarily. Hanapin nyo, you start digging, look at the history, look at the, and look for who is the beneficiary of this event. Itong isang nangyayari ngayon, baka nabalitaan nyo po, buong California, buong California, state of California, there are right now, ang narinig ko, 130 wildfires going on. Simultaneously, 130 wildfires. Sabi ng mga firemen, never in history did this thing ever happen. 130 fires going up at the same time in the whole state of California. O anong iniimbestiga nila ngayon? Nakikita nila na this is not accidental.
Right.
Di ba?
Yeah. Marami na silang nahuli. Kasi tumataas at tumataas, pati sa Portland, pati sa yung wildfires, tumadami pa daw. Pero unprecedented daw. First time daw na nangyari yun. So nag-imbestiga sila and nakahuli sila ng mga sila mismo, arsonist.
May mga arsonist nag-uumpisa talaga ng mga sunog. No? At dito lang sa California. Hindi lumilipat sa Canada.
Parang alam nila yung border.
Alam nila yung border.
Yung fire, alam nila yung border.
Kung saan sila magsusunog. Bakit? You tell me. Economics. One of the targets there is to continue to bring down the economy of California. How big is California? You know, the size of the economy of California is the size of Brazil.
Yes.
It's the size of the whole Brazil economy.
GDP.
Yan ang California.
And biggest electoral votes, 55.
You can see where this thing is going.
Yes.
No?
So,
Biro mo kung arsonist yan. Yung mga iba, nasabi, laser from UFOs daw, ganyan. Nahihirap po paniwalaan yung ganyan. Kasi yung mga yun, makikita po ng ating mga, sa kanilang mga satellites, yung mga ganyan. Pero yung mga gumagapang niyan at susunugin yung
mga
yung
Antifa.
forest. Ang suspicion, yung mga Antifa. Yung Antifa, what does Antifa? Anti-fascist no?
Yeah.
Pero they are a group of terrorists supposedly funded by guess who? Our friend George Soros.
Yeah.
George Soros, who's now in a wheelchair, very old, who swore that he will bring down America and Trump. Before he dies. That is what he swore. So he's using all of his resources now to bring down America and to bring down Trump. Now, he is supposed to be funding these moves of the Antifa. The Antifa is a terror group. Terror group po yan. And it is mobile. They move from state to state, from city to city to city. And the same faces, no, that are instigating looting, destruction, no, and terror. No? Tapos, naghihintay sila na may papatayin na kasamahan nila, tapos ginagawa nilang battle cry.
Yes. This is kasama na yung BLM, Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Yan yung mga organization. Pero yung mga nakikita natin pong riots sa America, these are all led by Antifa. Using Black Lives Matter, using co-opting a lot of these movements. Pero makikita nyo, hanapin nyo po. Huwag nyo hanapin sa mainstream media, hindi nila papakita yun. Hanapin nyo, mag-ano kayo sa internet. Spend time on internet and look at YouTube. Look for Antifa riots. And makikita nyo po, yung heads ng Antifa, hindi sila nahihiyang sabihin na ang gusto nila, pabagsakin yung Amerika. From their own words. Hindi po kami naglalagay ng diyan. Ang intention po nila, sunugin yung buong Amerika. At dapat bagong government, on socialist or communist government. Yan ang gusto nila. These are terrorists. And they've been already classified by the FBI and by the government as a terrorist organization. So it might be George Soros, matanda na po siya, pero marami siyang ibang galamay na gumagalaw na ganun rin. Okay, hindi pa natin masasabi yung mga pangalan once we do research, but kahit sa inyo po, you do your own research, dig lang po kayo ng sabi ni chairman, kailangan yung intention nyo is genuine. You want to find the truth. Hindi yung hanap kayo ng anti-Trump, yun na yung research nyo. Parang yung ginawa nila kay LaRouche dati. Since we were talking about LaRouche and his ideas, ang dami pong malapit sa amin. Hindi. Preso si LaRouche. Hindi. Komunista si LaRouche. Gano'n. Pero ang intention nila, makahanap lang ng panglaban. Hindi nila intention to find the truth. And if you're truthful, and your intention is genuine, makikita nyo po yun, yung totoo, kung ano talaga yung nangyari. You read
what they had written.
Si LaRouche, diba?
Si LaRouche, no? You read what they have written. You listen to what they have said and what they have done.
Right.
No?
Right.
Then you will see, no? Itong mga paninira, wala talagang mangyayari dyan. Kababawan ng kababawan dyan. Maraming gusto makipagdebate kasi Trump daw or Biden. I said, it's useless
Yeah.
no? It's really useless. Because we are going to look, you're going to try to convince yourself why you want to vote for Biden. No? So you will attack somebody who's talking about Trump. No? So what happens? No? And everything that is being said in the mainstream media against Trump is of course negative. Of course. And you cannot say that all of them are not true. There probably is some truth to some of them. But I don't care. The more important thing is now and the future. Who is fighting globalization? Who is fighting the military-industrial complex? Who is fighting pedophilia and
sex trafficking, drug trafficking?
Who is fighting this idea of
regime change?
Regime changes?
Yes.
Who is fighting that religion should be
what do you call that? Yung paradang makabayan. The
Oath
Oath of Allegiance.
Oath of Allegiance
Under
of
God.
America, the Democrats and the Antifa want to take out that small phrase, a nation under God. No? Pinapatanggal nila yon dun sa Oath of Allegiance nila.
Yeah.
Sino pa nagpatanggal ng mga cross
Yes.
sa mga classrooms? Ito mga ito yung mga kalaban ni Trump.
Yes.
No? Sinong nagpapatulak ng abortion, late-term abortion? Itong sila Hillary, itong sila Biden.
Planned Parenthood. Sino ba yung mga yan?
Yung mga 9 months na. Ang sabi nila, pwede pang patayin.
Yes.
Tapos ang sasabihin nila, itong Roe versus Wade law and all that. No law will exonerate you from your real crime. Murder is murder. You can convince yourself in every little argument about how you protect, how the woman's choice must be allowed. You can, all of these things. But murder is murder.
Yeah.
The moment that little conception, there is conception. Anytime you stop that life by force, all the way up to the time that he gets before he gets born, is murder. Not to you people. You say, pag napanganak na at patay mo, yan ang murder. Hindi po. Dito pa lang murder na. Tignan niyo po yung bata. Kung lang makakapagsalita yan, sasabihin niya murder. Yan po ang...
Yan si pro-life president, yan si Trump.
Trump is pro-life. No? Ayaw niya po ng abortion at hindi siya papayag yan. Yan po ang whatever you say about Trump, sabihin mo ng mayabang, masama, tapos meron naging girlfriend yan, ganito, tapos kung ano-anong sinasabi niya daw tungkol sa blacks, whatever you say, look at present and the future. What he stands for.
He's done.
Is that.
Yun lang po. So we have about, 15 minutes left. You want to go through some...
Meron pa bang, wala na tayong papalabas?
Wala.
Wala na. Okay, these are comments from our listeners and viewers. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Ruben Franco. Sir, mayroon pa ba kayong research about WHO diagnostic protocols issued to doctors or hospital administrators regarding COVID and other medical conditions?
No, Ruben, but there are, not on the Philippines, we haven't done a deep dive into Philippine situation, no? Pero yung sa US and the CDC, lumalabas itong mga datos, no? Ang mahirap kasi sa datos is that sometimes it's raw. So pag nakita nyo po yan, ang hirap i-extrapolate. So sometimes the experts do it for us and fine. But marami pong datos na pinapalitan ngayon. That's what we know. For example, yung sinabi natin last time about the WITS, yung trade of the World Bank, yung website nila, pinalitan na po nila, hindi na, kasi nilabas namin dati, like last week or a week before, sinabi namin there is a website that says, under World Bank, that says in 2018, nag-export sila ng COVID-19 test kits na nakalagay doon. Ngayon po, pag nag-log on kayo, hindi na tawag na COVID-19 test kits, nakalagay medical test kits na lang. So it's the same numbers, pero yung column na yun pinalitan. So there's marami pong nangyayaring ganyan ngayon. So but once we will bring out as we go. So
Yeah, that's why napakahirap po because imagine the authority, the WHO starts to change his position and changing their data, no? Kasi siya din yung authority, no? Kanya medyo nagugulan po ang tao. So, ang the best, Mr. Ruben Franco, no, is always, no, push for the people to improve their immune system. What are the vitamins that one has to take every day? Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, with zinc. What are the vitamins or the diets that they have to take every day to strengthen their immune system? Yun ang number one important. Ngayon, hindi na natin alam ngayon, masyadong magulo na whether this is a manufactured disease or whether it is not. Whether it was manufactured in the US or in China, we don't really know. Right now, you just prepare and strengthen your immune system.
Yes. Also, I'd like to say, Ruben, there are groups on Facebook, at least, na doctors who are discussing their own protocols, not the official protocols of the DOH and the WHO. Ang pinupush nga nila yung sinasabi natin HCQ with azithromycin as a treatment, early treatment protocols. Hindi nila sinusunod yung WHO and DOH. So hanapin po natin yan and then we can discuss.
Okay. Text message.
From a text message.
US and China, two largest economy into trade war. China, biggest population in the world, also biggest importer of oil. While Philippines is the second biggest population in ASEAN, next to Indonesia. May langis, pero Philippines wala kaya. Philippine biggest oil importer in ASEAN. Kaya Philippines, mahal kuryente. Kaya tama plano ni Duterte, diplomacy, bilateral talk for joint oil gas exploration on 60-40 sharing para umunlad ang bansa. Kaysa sa dispute, mamamatay na tayo, lahat wala pang makinabang. I agree that there should be a commercial arrangement without surrendering our claims, without surrendering our territorial claims. Pero habang hindi pa nare-resolve yan, makipag-negosyo tayo para makinabang dito ang mga populasyon.
But I also wanted to comment on that. Kaya mataas yung electricity po natin hindi dahil wala tayong langis, ha?
Oh, yes.
That's not the reason.
That's not the reason.
The reason is pera. That is the only reason that we can think of right now, and that is the only reason why we are paying the highest in the world.
Electricity in the world.
Because despite us not being industrialized, we're paying the highest
Electricity in the world.
prices in the world. It is not because we don't have oil. That's not the connection.
Right. Okay. It's because we privatized this and we gave it to the oligarchs, and they were allowed by law to increase the price of electricity to a point where the people are already getting asphyxiated, nasasakal na po.
Also, the oil
And
deregulation.
oil deregulation. Ganyan style ng mga dilawan, magpakalat chismis, may malubhang sakit si Duterte. Ganyan rin ginawa nila kay Marcos bago bumalik si Ninoy sa Philippines. Nagpakalat ng chismis si Marcos may lupus, may sakit, malapit ng mamatay. Nagpabaril si Ninoy August 21 kaya naupo si Cory, president. Namatay lang si Marcos 1989 after 6 years. Because of stress kasi maraming paratang. Lahat ng klaseng pagnanakaw ikinaso kay Imelda sa US Court. Desisyon ng Korte, Imelda not guilty in all counts. Okay, George Wallace. Can you read it?
George Wallace, Duterte announces his affiliation to the New World Order. Official na po ito. been posting this long time ago. I know Duterte since his first day in office. Ngayon, alam ninyo bakit naka-lockdown pa rin tayo at bakit uutang na tayo na walang hanggan na pagbabayaran ng mga anak natin. Gago yan si Digong, nilagay ang bansa sa life and death situation. FYI, ang bansang Sweden di nag-lockdown, no mask, no social distancing mandate. 1 death of COVID in August. Though COVID is a make-believe shit, still shows how their government have the balls to defy everyone. It's called political will and real governance. Time to oust Duterte and mandate Lugaw to end the lockdown or she won't get that position.
Well, actually, I don't agree with oust Duterte at this point. No? And all of that is probably your opinion. No?
Speculation.
But I cannot disagree the fact that there should be certain things done by Duterte which he is not doing up to now. No? Like I was trying to explain earlier no? That Duterte is saying certain things that are correct, but the actual action is not following.
Yes.
I will only at this point surmise that it is his cabinet and members of his cabinet that are stopping him. No? At this point, that's the best that I can do because we don't have any other information that will make us say na gago yan si Digong. No? Hindi po sa aming puntingin. Ay is doing whatever he can. But he, like you said, you need political will. But if your whole cabinet is stopping you and you're there in a position of president, uutos mo na, hindi ka pa binsusundan. Hindi mo naman ma-fire out lahat sila. No? So, yan po ang sitwasyon, no? Ang nakikita namin. Bigyan po natin ng konti pang panahon. No?
We would know, I think, from who we are in KDP, the chairman. We've been fighting this fight for decades already. I think we would know if Duterte is a blind follower of what you call the New World Order or not. I think he is trying his best. Sometimes he makes mistakes and sometimes but the jury's still out as far as we're concerned.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Ito po ang inyong kaibigan na si Butch Valdes at ang aking pong panganay na si Itos Valdes. Maraming salamat po.
Inyong napakinggan si Itos Valdes kasama si Cathy Cruz at iba pang katipon na nakilahok sa talakayan.
Ating Katipunan.
Samahang muli si Itos Valdes sa susunod na linggo alas 7 hanggang alas 9 ng gabi sa himpilan ng RMN DZXL 558 kHz AM band at social media accounts ng Partido KDP.
Ating Katipunan.